what's everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking the Transformers Legacy Buzzworthy Bumblebee Creatures Collide 4-pack Ransack. So I already did review Goldbug. His review should be up on the channel right now, so make sure you check out that review after this one. I will be reviewing Skywasp and, of course, Predacon Scorponok very soon over on the channel, so make sure you stay tuned. Let me take a look at the packaging first, then we'll get into the review. So, of course, we have Goldbug, we have Ransack right there in his really cool looking Grasshopper mode. Of course, we have Skywasp in his Wasp mode. We have Predacon Scorponok in his Scorpion mode. Of course, lots of cities and bridges in the background looking very cool. Of course, we have all their names. Creatures Collide. On the side here, we have a nice artwork of Bumblebee, RC, and Mirage. And if I just quickly rotate it, I do apologize if you don't have the best view for a short, quick second. This box is actually very long and almost very hard to maneuver in this review space. So, of course, in the back, we have all the figures in their robot and alt modes. And, of course, the one we're going to be taking a look at today is Ransack, and he transforms in 14 steps. So that's pretty much it for the packaging. Let's now get into the review. Here we have Ransack in his really cool looking Grasshopper mode. Let's take a look at the details. We're going to start at the very front with that brand new head sculpt. Some nice yellow for the antennas, of course some red for the eyes with a bit of texturing and some black. Of course also nice wings here done in that orange. I really do like how they have all those little sections and ligaments in there. That looks very realistic and well done. On the top a nice Decepticon symbol and that nice foggy blackish gray. Looks very good. Unfortunately these sections here are actually the legs, so they're a bit unchanged and you can tell that where they came from, so I wish there's a little bit more change and not as obvious. Of course the back legs here done in yellow with some spikes. Got the feet there, and of course at the front some big claws or talons for the front legs. And overall pretty similar to the original kickback mold, which I will bring out in just a second for comparison, but overall looks very cool. Let's now get into articulation. So I'm going to start at the very back with the legs. So of course these are the legs for the alt mode. Also of course these are the legs for the robot mode. So there is actually quite a bit of articulation. I'm going to move the wings so they can hinge out, up, and down. There is also a swivel, a bend, and of course there is actually an angle pivots. It's actually very tight, but you can do that if you want to have it at a different angle. Of course the wings are in a swivel, so they can pretty much rotate all the way around. You can hinge them back, forward, of course. And now for the head, it really just rock back and forth. For these legs, they can hinge out, in, swivel, and of course you can adjust the claws to however you want. And that's pretty much it for articulation of the Grasshopper mode, but overall that looks very cool. Let's now get into the accessories. So he does come with quite a few. He does come with the exact same two swords that came with Kickback. Same sculpt, just now yellow, which looks pretty cool. You can actually do quite a few things with these. So first up, of course, you can store them on the wings just like you could do with Kickback. So you just align those tabs up, slide those into place just like that. Same thing on this side, just align those up, tab them in just like that, and there we have them with those blades attached, which is pretty cool. And of course you can angle these back a little bit more if you don't want them as high up, and I think that looks pretty cool. He also does have his blaster, same sculpts, just now done in black, and there is a port and there is a peg that just plugs in right there. And there we have him fully armed. He does come with one more accessory, which I will show later in the robot mode, because right now, not really much point of using it. And there's another way you can actually store the swords, which I did show in the kickback review. So if you take these off and actually tab these together, just plug those in just like this, you can actually go back here. And under, there's this whole section here where you can just slide this into place just like that. It can take some force, just like that, and this really creates the kind of whole abdomen section of the bug, which is pretty cool. I'm not super familiar with my bug terminology, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So that's kind of cool. Actually, it's pretty cool because with Kickback, that was not in the instructions when we first got it, but actually checking the Legacy Buzzworthy Bumblebee instructions for this figure, that was indeed an included feature for it. So that's kind of cool. Before it was sort of a hidden fan mode for it that we found, so now it is official, which is pretty cool. So you can do that if you want, which is quite nice. And that's pretty much it for the Grasshopper mode. Let's now get into a few comparisons. Let's now get into one quick comparison. Here we have Ransack and Kickback. As you can see, mold-wise, they're pretty much the exact same thing. The only change right now is the head sculpt, and actually Ransack does include the exact same head sculpt as Kickback, so if you want to swap them out and make them the exact same thing, you can. I'm going to keep the alternate head sculpt that he has on right now for him, because there's a little bit of change, but as you can see, accessory-wise, the exact same thing, and of course, the main body is completely unchanged. It's really just up to your personal preference, which color scheme you like more. I probably prefer Kickback a little bit more. That's just in my opinion. Let me know which one you like more in the comment section down below, Kickback or Ransack. Let's now get into transformation into the robot mode. So if you have Kickback, you know exactly what to do. It's here. It's the exact same transformation. So we're going to start at the very back. What you can do is go to these sections here. You can use this ball joint, fold in the foot, and collapse that inside the leg. Do the same thing on the other side. Fold this in, collapse that up, just like that. You can then go to the front, bring out the feet just like this. Do the same thing on the other side. You can then get the wings, rotate these back, of course, to wherever you want them. If you want them a little bit further back, you can do that. Move the arm forward, fold out the hand just like this. There we have one of the arms all done. Fold out the hands just like that. Rotate the head around. And there we have Ransack in his really cool looking robot mode. So now let's take a look at the details. Here we have Ransack in his really cool looking robot mode. Let's take a look at the details. We're going to start at the very top with that amazing new head sculpt. Of course, some nice red for the side of the face and the visor, some nice black for the helmet section, and some yellow for those antennas back there. Of course, some nice orange for the wings, which looks very, very good and realistic. Of course, some nice black for the shoulders and yellow for the forearms. Some nice black and kind of gray, foggy gray for the chest, and nice Decepticon symbol right there under the head. And of course some more yellow at the top of the legs and the crotch, and some more black and yellow for the rest of the legs. So overall, pretty simple, not a ton of crazy colors or designs, but I think it actually looks very, very cool. Let's now get into articulation. So at the wings, a swivel all the way around, the head can move all the way around. There is a full rotation at the arm, out, in, swivel, elbow bend, no hand rotation, full waist swivel. The leg can kick that far out, that far forward, that far back, and knee bend, a swivel, and an ankle pivot, which can actually be very, very tight on my copy. There we go. Full ankle pivots to a very good degree. Collapsing that back in. And that's pretty much it for articulation. Overall, of course, the exact same as Kickback. Nothing different. And overall, pretty good, pretty fair. So that's pretty much it for articulation. Let's now get into the accessories. So he does come with those same two swords and blaster, and there's a new added one, which I can show you in just a second. Of course, same sculpt as the one that came with Kickback, just done in black, not that silver and kind of purple design. And you can have him hold it in his hands, which I think looks pretty cool. But how I typically store it is actually on his back. So if you just turn back here, there is a port and peg, and you can just plug this just like that, which I think looks pretty cool. And then I usually have him dual wield those two swords that he comes with, which I thought is pretty cool. Just plug those into place, one there, one on the other arm, and there we have him dual wielding those pretty cool blades, which looks quite nice. And on to the last accessory. So it does come with an alternate head. Of course, the standard one would be this Kickback head sculpt. Of course, the exact same sculpt is the one that came with the Kickback Legacy Wave 1 figure, of course. And you can also use the alternate head that's on him right now. I will keep that one on that's on him right now. I'm not going to actually take it off and show you with this, because I do not want to cause any damage. Actually, I've had several buddies of mine try and change it out, and they've caused stress marks on this head sculpt, and of course this one as well, trying to take it off. So I'm not going to take the risk, because I want it in, of course, perfect mint condition. That's just how I am, so I'm just going to leave it on there. But of course, side by side, here you can see, and I'm going to quickly bring out Kickback for sort of a head and figure comparison. So of course, here they are. Sculpt wise, the only change is that head sculpt, and of course now, if you put that one on there, they would be the exact same sculpt. So that's pretty much it for the elastic accessory. So if you want to, of course, you can just pop it right off. I'm not sure, why it caused those stress marks. I've actually seen those figures in person with tons of stress marks on the heads and stuff, so I'm not going to take the risk. But just doing a quick comparison between these two figures right now, of course, the main body and everything else, accessories, the exact same thing. And honestly, I probably prefer this this head over that one. It actually looks pretty interesting with those big antennas and that really cool looking visor. Really, it's just up to your personal preference. But that's pretty much it for this comparison. Let's now move into a few more comparisons. For our last comparisons, here we have Skywasp, Goldbug, Ransack, and Predacon Scorponok. So of course, all these figures came in that same pack, and probably my favorite has to be Goldbug. My second favorite would probably be the Scorponok figure. I really do like that nice metallic silvery purple on him. That looks super cool. Let me know which one is your favorite figure in the pack in the comment section down below. I'm assuming most people will say that Goldbug. It's a really good figure, and that review is over on the channel right now, so make sure you go watch that after this one. And of course, I'll review these other two figures very, very soon. They also did come with alternate heads as well, and they're actually really easy to take off. I'm just wondering, of course, I don't want to damage it at all, so I'm just going to leave it on and not even try to put the other one on, because on display, I actually would rather prefer displaying it with this brand new head sculpt. So yeah, pretty cool looking pack. Let's now move on to the now get into the final thoughts for the Transformers Legacy Buzzworthy Bumblebee Creatures Collide Ransack. So let's start on the robot mode. I think overall it's a pretty good looking robot mode. I do like the concept, of course, of the alternate heads. It does come with two heads, the one that came with Kickback and this one that's on the figure right now actually did come pre-installed with this one. That's how it was in packaging, and that's cool and all. I do like the idea. I'm just worried, of course, for the future, will we still have these problems of stress marks or anything like that, or of course the ball joint that plugs into the body can actually snap off if you use too much force. I've actually seen several cases of that on pictures, and I've actually known several people that's happened to. So I do hope with future figures like the Shatterglass Ultra Magnus that's coming out very, very soon, that one has an alternate head, and I'm hoping, of course, that one will be a lot easier to take off and put on, because I do not want any problems with that, considering it is an exclusive figure. The accessories otherwise, of course, the two blades and the gun, of course, come exactly the same sculpt as the Kickback one, just in a new yellow and black deco, which looks pretty cool. Overall articulation is standard for a deluxe size figure, the exact same as Kickback, no complaints there. I do wish the wings were a little bit tighter, actually. Just moving those around and positioning, they're actually quite loose. Nothing like, you know, they move on their own loose, but not as tight, I would say, as Kickback's. Transformation, very, very simple, really. You just kind of put them sideways and just move out a few pieces, and that's it. You really just, both ways, very simple, very standard, and of course the exact same as Kickback. And overall, I really like the Grasshopper mode. It's pretty cool, you know, articulation, actually very good for the back legs, because they're actually the robot mode legs, so you can get it in a lot of really crazy poses, like it jumping in the air, jumping on an Autobot. That'd be pretty cool. So yeah, I think it's overall a pretty good figure. Really, it's just down to your preference of the deco you want, of course, or the head sculpt you want on this figure. I probably like Kickback a little bit more. Honestly, it'd be really cool if we could get a head sculpt of that for Kickback in more of a purple or black sort of deco for him. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe they could do a custom one. You could get an extra one of those and customize a little bit for Kickback if you wanted to. That'd be kind of cool. But let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section down below. Of course, I already do have Goldbug's review on the channel right now, and I'm actually very, very close to 500 subscribers, so thank you for all the support recently. It's been a lot. And of course, whenever I do reach 500 subscribers, I will do several specials, probably a stop motion, maybe a review, and maybe even a live stream. I actually probably will be doing a live stream very, very soon of some of the Velocitron figures that I'm going to get actually very, very soon, so make sure to stay tuned for that. I think that's pretty much it for this review, and I'll see you next time.